Shalom, my friends. I am Rabbi David, and today I am going to dismantle one of the most dangerous lies in human history, a lie that has kept millions in a spiritual prison for 2,000 years. I am going to reveal the hidden truth about the most infamous villain of all time, Judas Iscariot, and in doing so, I will give you the key to unlock your own power to choose your destiny. This is not just a history lesson. This is a spiritual technology that, once understood, will completely rewire your reality. But before I unveil this powerful truth, I need you to make a declaration of readiness. Go to the comments right now and write, "I am free to choose." This is your first step in signaling to the universe that you are no longer a puppet of fate, but a co-creator with the divine. Our mission here is to gather an army of 100,000 souls dedicated to mastering this spiritual technology. If you are ready to be one of them, subscribe to this channel now. And for those who are truly serious about accelerating their journey, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is where I unveil the complete Torah wealth system. The doors are closing soon. The link is in the comments. I understand the feeling of being hopelessly trapped, of believing that your fate is sealed and you have no power to change it. I know this because I lived it. Years ago, before the blessings, before the success, I was a prisoner to this very lie. I was in a business partnership that was failing, a venture that was draining my spirit and my bank account. Every piece of evidence, every person I spoke to, told me the same thing: it was a lost cause. I felt a crushing weight of inevitability, as if I were a character in a story already written, destined to fail. I would lie awake at night, my mind racing, not with solutions, but with the certainty of my own ruin. It was a poison that seeped into every corner of my life. I felt shame, a deep and profound shame that I was not strong enough, not smart enough to escape this destiny that had been chosen for me. I tried everything the world tells you to do. I worked harder, I negotiated, I pleaded, but nothing worked. The situation only worsened, and my hope was turning to dust. I was convinced that this failure was my story, my Judas moment, the betrayal I was born to experience. This is the enemy we are all fighting. It is an ancient and insidious lie. I call it the illusion of predetermined fate. It is the whisper in your ear that tells you that you are not the master of your ship. It is the voice that says your poverty is genetic, your sickness is inevitable, your loneliness is your destiny. The hidden mechanism of this enemy is that it masquerades as wisdom, as humility. It tells you to accept your lot in life. But this is not humility. It is the highest form of arrogance. It is the belief that you know the end of the story. It is a spiritual blockage that cuts you off from the single greatest gift the Creator gave to humanity, the power to choose. The cost of surrendering to this enemy is a life of quiet desperation. It is the slow, agonizing death of your dreams. It is the tragedy of arriving at the end of your days with your truest potential, your divine light still locked inside you, a prisoner of a fate you never had to accept. But what if I told you that the code to shattering this illusion was embedded in the Torah thousands of years ago? And what if I told you that the story of Judas, when viewed through the lens of this ancient wisdom, is not a story of a man who had no choice, but the ultimate cautionary tale about the terrifying power of making the wrong choice? The Christian texts tell us that the betrayal of Jesus by Judas was prophesied. In Psalm 41, King David writes, "Even my close friend, whom I trusted, he who shared my bread, has lifted his heel against me." This is seen as a direct prophecy of Judas's actions. The story seems to present a divine paradox. If it was prophesied, how could Judas be blamed? Was he not merely a pawn in a cosmic play, a necessary evil to bring about the salvation of mankind? This is the core of the illusion of predetermined fate. But the Torah screams a different truth. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19, the Creator gives us the foundational principle of human existence. He says, "This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live." He does not say, "I have chosen for you." He says, "You choose." This is the principle of *Behira Hofshit, free will. The Kabbalists teach that God's foreknowledge of an event does not cause the event. A master chess player may know how his opponent will move, but he does not force the opponent's hand. The Creator, in his infinite wisdom, can see the entire map of time, all the possible paths, all the choices you might make. He sees the path where you betray, and he sees the path where you remain loyal. The prophecy is not a sentence, it is a warning. It is a revelation of a possible future, a future that is brought into reality only by your choice. Look at the story of Pharaoh. The Torah tells us that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. For centuries, people have used this as proof that free will is an illusion. But the deeper teaching, the one the sages reveal, is this. Pharaoh had already chosen cruelty 10 times. He had already chosen to ignore the suffering of the enslaved Israelites. God did not take away his choice. God simply removed the external pressure that might have forced him to change. God said, in effect, "You have chosen who you are. Now I will give you the full experience of that choice, without interference, so you can see the truth of what you have become." Pharaoh's heart was hardened by his own choices. The prophecy was fulfilled because Pharaoh chose to fulfill it. Judas was not a puppet. He was a man with a Yetzer hara, a negative inclination, who stood at a crossroads, just as we all do. He stood at the intersection of prophecy and choice, and he chose the path of darkness. He chose 30 pieces of silver over loyalty. He chose immediate gratification over eternal significance. And in that choice, he became the villain history remembers. That night, years ago, trapped in my failing business, I was studying this very concept. I was reading the story of Pharaoh, how the Torah says God hardened his heart. For years, I thought this meant Pharaoh had no choice. But the deeper teaching is that God simply held Pharaoh to the consequences of his own choices. Pharaoh chose cruelty, so God gave him a heart that was immune to compassion. He was not a puppet. He was experiencing the full measure of his own creation. And then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I was not Judas. I was not Pharaoh. I was not destined to fail. I had been choosing to fail. I had been choosing to listen to the voices of doubt and fear. I had been choosing to believe in the illusion of predetermined fate. That night, I made a decision. I would no longer be a victim. I performed a ritual, the very protocol I am about to teach you. I declared that my consciousness of failure was cleansed. I chose life. I chose a different path. At first, nothing happened externally, but internally, a fire was lit. The shame was replaced by a quiet power. The next day, I walked into my partner's office, not with the energy of a victim, but with the energy of a creator. I didn't plead. I declared a new reality. Within a week, the entire dynamic of the negotiation shifted. An opportunity I had thought was dead was resurrected. Within 3 months, I had not only exited the failing business with my finances intact, but I had laid the foundation for the abundance I have today. I had not changed my circumstances. I had changed my consciousness, and my circumstances were forced to follow. Now, let me give you the practical application. I call it the Free Will Activation Protocol. It is a 3-step process to reclaim your divine power of choice. Step 1. Identify your Judas moment. You must look at your life with radical honesty and identify the one area where you believe you have no choice. Is it your job, your finances, your health, your relationship? This is the area where you have surrendered your power to the illusion of predetermined fate. You must name it, write it down, look at it. This is the prison you have unknowingly built for yourself. This is the first step to freedom, realizing you are in a cage. Asterisk, asterisk. Step 2. The prophecy reframe. Asterisk, asterisk. You will find the prophecy that is keeping you trapped. This is the story you tell yourself. I'm just not good with money. Everyone in my family gets sick. I'm always the one who gets left. You must understand that this is not a prophecy of what must be, but a warning of what will be if you continue to choose the same path. You will rewrite this prophecy. You will reframe it from a sentence of doom to a signpost pointing you toward a new direction. You will say, my family's history with sickness is not my destiny. It is a warning to choose health. Asterisk, asterisk. Step 3. The choice declaration. Asterisk, asterisk. This is the most critical step. You will stand before a mirror, look yourself in the eye, and declare your new choice out loud. You will say, I have been choosing the negative outcome, and today I choose the positive outcome. For example, I have been choosing debt, and today I choose abundance. This is not positive thinking. This is a asterisk ratzon, asterisk, a declaration of your will that sends a new frequency into the universe. You are activating the law of asterisk behira hofshit, asterisk. You are choosing life. Now, let me tell you about a student of mine, Michael. He felt trapped in his family's business. He hated the work, but he believed it was his destiny to take it over. It was his Judas moment. He implemented this protocol. He identified his prison. He reframed the prophecy from, I have to do this, to my family's expectation is a signpost pointing me toward my true calling. He declared his choice for a new career. Within 90 days, he had enrolled in a course for a skill he was passionate about. Within a year, he had presented a transition plan to his family that they, seeing his newfound power and certainty, accepted. Today, he runs a 7-figure business of his own design. His income tripled in the first year alone. Then there is Rachel. She came to me convinced she was destined to be poor. Her parents struggled. Her grandparents struggled. It was her prophecy. She used the protocol. She declared, I have been choosing the consciousness of my ancestors, and today I choose the consciousness of the Creator. She took one small action. She opened a savings account with just $25. It was an action of faith. Within 2 years, she had not only paid off her debts, but had also started a successful consulting business. She broke the generational curse, not by fighting it, but by choosing a different reality. And then there is David. He came to me with a story that broke my heart. He said, Rabbi, I am an addict. My father was an addict. My grandfather was an addict. This is in my blood. I have no choice. He believed his genetics were his prophecy, his predetermined fate. I taught him this protocol. He identified his Judas moment, the belief that his DNA was his destiny. He reframed the prophecy. My family history is not a sentence. It is a test of my free will. He declared his choice. I have been choosing the path of my ancestors, and today I choose the path of healing. The first week was hell. The second week was harder. But by the third week, something shifted. He had made a choice, and his body, his mind, his very cells were beginning to respond to that choice. Within 6 months, he was clean. Within a year, he had rebuilt his relationships with his children. Within 2 years, he became a counselor, helping others break the chains of their own predetermined fates. He did not change his genetics. He changed his consciousness, and his reality was forced to follow. Now, I know the objection that is rising in your mind, but Rabbi, what about God's will? What about the prophecies in the holy books? Are you saying they are not true? I understand. This is the great paradox. But here is the truth you must grasp. God's foreknowledge does not erase your free will. Imagine a man watching a parade from the top of a skyscraper. He can see the beginning of the parade, the middle, and the end, all at the same time. The people in the parade, however, can only see what is directly in front of them. The man on the skyscraper knows the parade will turn right at the next corner, but he is not forcing it to turn. He is simply observing from a higher perspective. The Creator is the man on the skyscraper. He sees all of time, all choices, all outcomes simultaneously. A prophecy is God telling us what He sees from His vantage point down one possible path. He is not pushing us down that path. He is saying, I see a future where you turn right and fall off a cliff, but you can still choose to turn left. Judas had a choice. He could have chosen loyalty. He could have chosen teshuvah, repentance. He chose 30 pieces of silver. The prophecy did not seal his fate. His choice sealed his fate. And here is the second objection I hear. But Rabbi, I've already made so many bad choices. I've already betrayed myself, my family, my dreams. Isn't it too late for me? My friend, this is the beauty of teshuvah, . The word does not mean repentance in the way the world understands it. It means return. You can always return. The Talmud teaches that the gates of teshuvah are never closed. Even Judas, in his final moments, had the power to choose differently. His tragedy was not that he betrayed. His tragedy was that he believed his betrayal was the end of his story. He chose despair over return. You are reading this right now because you still have time. You still have the power to choose. Your past does not define your future unless you choose to let it. Every single morning, you wake up with the same gift Judas had. The power to choose life or death, blessing or curse. Stop looking at your past as a prophecy of your future. Start looking at it as data, as lessons, as the raw material for your transformation. So here is my challenge to you. For the next 21 days, you will commit to the free will activation protocol. You will become a master of your own destiny. Here are your 3 immediate, non-negotiable actions. 1. Tonight, before you sleep, identify your primary Judas moment, the area where you feel you have no choice. Write it down. 2. Tomorrow morning, perform the prophecy reframe. Write down the negative story you've been telling yourself, and then write a new, empowering story. 3. Look in the mirror and make your choice declaration. Declare the new reality you are choosing into existence. And here is a bonus tip for those who are truly committed. For the next 21 days, read Deuteronomy 30:19 every single morning. Let it be the first thing that enters your mind. Let it become the operating system of your soul. Remember, the Talmud teaches, a prisoner cannot free himself from prison. You need a brother or sister on this journey. Share this video with one person who needs to hear this message. And now, I want to end with a blessing. May you be blessed with the clarity to see the bars of your own cage. May you be blessed with the courage to declare your freedom. And may you be blessed with the wisdom to use your Behira Hofshit your sacred power of choice, to choose life, to choose blessings, to choose the infinite abundance that is your divine birthright. I am praying for you. Shalom.